Nigeria is a very rich country, blessed by God, with good weather, with good everything. You know, Nigeria is not poor. What is poor is leadership. When you have poor leadership, you cripple everything, you make everybody poor. Because your thinking is poor, your leadership is poor. You can remove Nigeria from being a consuming, sharing country to productive country. She just mentioned about my tour. Whenever state I reach, as a land, I look at the agricultural aid, the land, the massive land God gave Nigeria. I look at the people God gave Nigeria. And I ask myself a question. How did we get here? About that, it's a very simple thing. Nigeria is a country of about 31,000 square kilometers of land.
923,000.
923. Very good correction. Vietnam is 331,000 square kilometers. Nigeria is 200 million population. Vietnam is 100. Vietnam export last year is about 300 billion. Total export. Nigeria export last year is about 30 billion. 10% of Vietnam. So we have a third of their land. We have half of their, we have twice their population. They have a third of our land, half of our population. Look at the productivity. That shows, you know, they're producing anything. The 5 or 6 biggest states in Nigeria, Niger, 76,000 square kilometers, Borno, about 70, Taraba, 54,000, I think Kaduna, 46, Bauchi, 45. The 5 biggest or 6 biggest states in Nigeria is about 340,000 square kilometers. It's bigger than Vietnam. That's 6 states. And look at what they're doing. And what is Vietnam exporting? Vietnam is exporting manufactured goods, not oil. 98% of their export is manufactured goods. Number 1 is electronics. Are you saying it cannot be manufactured in Nigeria? It can. Kaduna used to be home of textile and garments. Where is it? These 3 sisters I called you, Kaduna is there. They're not doing that. I said it in Kaduna, that we can export even if it's just 2 billion. They are doing 32 billion. Bangladesh is 36. There's nothing happening in Kaduna because you've created a country that is not productive. It's simple. So this is just not about being productive. The 4th or 5th biggest export of Vietnam is footwear, which Abba can deliver. Abba used to do it, 23 billion. More than oil, just shoes and footwear. What's that? You know, this is something that is so simple that you can do. I was in Bangladesh. You see me give an example. For good 1 week, went to the villages, saw women sewing and doing this clothing. They are exporting. And I can tell you, Nigerian women are as bright, more hardworking than these women. All we needed to do is to support them, ensure proper government committed grants to them, not to TV show. It is a straightforward thing. I can go on and show you why we, to even turn in these states that I mentioned, 340,000 square kilometers. It's just, Netherlands is just 10% of them. 10%, 333,000 square kilometers. They exported agricultural goods, 120 billion. These 6 states can't even feed themselves. I was in Taraba, and I was landing in Taraba. I look at the lovely place, the Mambila area, and everything. You can grow coffee there. Ethiopia, this is not first world now, exported coffee last year, $905 million. You can go and check it. Ethiopia, this is not foreign, not Colombia now, who have done much more, but Ethiopia, yeah. You can grow flour there. Kenya did flour, almost $500 million last year, flour export. In fact, young girls, non-graduates that pick flour in Kenya are paid between $100 and $150, which is about 100,000 a minimum wage is starting. These are countries in Africa. Morocco did an agricultural export of about 10 billion. What is Nigeria doing? We're just waiting to share this oil money. That's what we are sharing. Even when we share it, we politicians cut it away and using it to buy people as if they're goats and everything, rather than encourage them. So you can turn it around. How do you do it? Most of these corporations you see across all these countries are driven by small businesses which are dominated by the youth. And we have large of them, very innovative, very entrepreneurial, you see all these boys, they even call Yahoo boys. That's how India started. They were doing Yahoo until a leader came and turned them around. They turned out the same thing they were using to defraud people into what became today that India dominates the ICT. That shows the talent is there. What they need is direction, somebody that will pull them in the right direction, support them. Small businesses have died here. That's what is driven. Service industry contributes 41% of GDP of Vietnam. And what is happening there is all SMEs doing small businesses. Our manufacturing today contributes only about 9%, even below that of our GDP. Not for a developing country, not for a country of our size. China is 30%. If you go to other countries, you see it, they're above 15%. That shows you don't have power, you don't have anything, you don't have access to it. These are not rocket science. What are we talking about power? Between 2015 and today, Egypt had doubled its power production from 26,000 to 55,000. Egypt, I mean, if we don't want, I as a president, we'll go there and sit there and say, how did you do this? It's not from the moon. Today, you are the giant of Africa. You're generating 4,000 megawatts, which is what we've generated since I was born. The second biggest economy, South Africa, is doing about 50,000 with 60 million people. The third biggest economy, which is Egypt, is doing 55,000 with 100 million people. Let me tell you, if we want power to change, it will change. The first time we borrowed money to do power here was 1964. You have seen me say it. I went to Tumbon Tafabala. People say, where are you going here, Peter? I said, I came to pay respect to this great man who loved Nigeria, who governed Nigeria. In September 1964, all of you have access to it. Tafabala wrote World Bank saying, I want to borrow $82 million to build Kanj Dam 58 years ago. In that letter, they said, to spur economic growth of my country. In the reply from the World Bank, they said, we approve this because it will help in development of your country. If you value $82 million in today's money, it's about $1 billion. So for $1 billion, he had the foresight to build about 1,000 megawatts of electricity. Today, our debt is about $120 billion. Imagine if you threw a third of it to generating power at $1 billion per 1,000, we would have had 40,000 megawatts. This place would have been a manufacturing hub for the entire Africa. Because we have the talent, Newi, Eba, Kanu, everything. I went to Kanu. All the industries are dead. So what you have now is that you have millions of people who are begging. I went to Onitsha, same thing. I went to Aba, same thing. These are people who are industrious, who wants to work, who are willing to go back. So you can change it by borrowing the same money and throwing it in the right direction, not borrowing it for sharing or for anything of anybody to talk, something like that. So it's very easy. We can change it. The more educated your country is, and it's been shown, the better your economy. Because you can't talk about productivity, you can't talk about it without investing in education. And it's very simple, especially in education of women. You can't talk of any country that is doing well today without talking about education of women. Because actually, they're more organizers. They're better in terms of being productive. It's been shown that women are actually more productive than men. I'm talking about cotton industry in Bangladesh. It's 60% dominated by women. It was then in Vietnam. And you can go on and on. You know, it's a question of government understanding this is where we're going to go. We're talking about investment in education. For example, one of the places even Central Bank was trying to dash people money. If you bring this, that's why remittances. We have 5 million Nigerians living outside this country, and they are remitting about $15 to $20 billion. Imagine if you educate, say 15 million, You can even succeed in putting investments in 10 million of them, and they leave this country. And that's what remittances, we hit 50. That's what Philippines is doing. They become a servant of the world. That's what we talk about Singapore, talk about everything. It is about education. So you invest in it. There's no way this country can comfortably invest in education. The amount of money we borrowed and the sharing, Ruben today can fund education. I was a governor. When I came in, we had a problem in Anambra State. Our problem was that the boys were not going to school because they wanted to go and trade. They didn't see any value in education. So we had 80% girls in school, 20% boys. When I came in, nobody wanted to talk about education. Of course, we are lagging. We're number 26, 27. I even saw Governor Makinde the other day in one of his achievements. He said he has moved Oyo from 26 to number 11. Because I remember very well, that time, Anambra used to be 26, Oyo used to be this. And I said to myself, it can't be. We can change this. We will invest in education. But what we did was simple. We put in the resources direct to the school. And it worked. We moved from 26 number 1, 2011, 2012, 2013. Today we have the highest cutoff point. You can change it anywhere. I've been to schools everywhere in the world. If you ask on Tambawal, I visited Sokoto. One said, where are you going to? I said, I'm going to schools. I went to schools in the border. I went to schools, about 4 schools in Sokoto. Bishop Kuka will tell you. And you could see people who wants to learn. But why are they not doing that? Because we have refused to invest. Ruben, let me even tell you, what we are going through in terms of criminality, our children will refuse to invest and educate yesterday, they become a problem for us today. And the earlier we start educating the ones that are coming now, the better. So we will do that. And there's resources to that. All this money you see that's being budgeted for education and everything, never get to schools. They don't get to where they should be. What we're going to do now is have a policy. Nigeria cannot be, look at what World Bank said yesterday, that we are 7th worst country in human development. Nigeria. This is the country that used to be exemplary. People used to come from, when I was in Nsukka, we had exchange students from America, from everywhere. People used to come to Ibadan to learn, to do this. So what is happening? We now go to Ghana, we now go to this. It will change. Our HDI I have now become 161 over 185. It cannot be. Because we are country, we have the resources. People will tell you we don't have the resources. Where did we put the one we borrowed? Price of oil moved from 50 something, price doubled. Ordinarily, my sister, the price of products you're selling doubled. I expect you to come in with more money if I'm a banker. But all of a sudden, you didn't pay anything. And when they investigated, they found out that this money is going to things ordinarily. Maybe subsidy. There's no way our budget of subsidy for 1 year should be bigger than our budget of health for 5 years, our budget of education for 5 years. That shows there's something wrong. What are we subsidizing? Let's discuss it. Well, it's time to sit down and say that this criminality associated with subsidy must stop. We have a country. We do things there without conscience. Even among the worst corrupt and stealing country, there will be conscience. People do ask me. And I said to them, hey, wait a minute. And I did not take Anambra State money. But even if I did, for the fact that I left 75, if I had taken 5, at least there's conscience. But for the fact, no way. I say it any day, anytime. Capital no. Go and show me one. And I challenge anybody. Show me in the 8 years of P2P being governor where Anambra State money was mismanaged. Challenge anybody. And that's what I tell people. Do not bother about how my private life or this. There's so many things Peter can do to make money. I'm a great creator any day, anytime. Whether here, in the Western world, anywhere. Because there's so much opportunity in life. But I'm saying that even if you should have conscience. You should say, no, this is wrong. This is right. So where is the money? So they delisted us because we didn't save any money. But that will not stop us from borrowing. People say our debt to GDP is low. It's low compared to, say, Egypt or Morocco or anything. But see the difference. If Morocco issues a bond today, say for $10 billion, the interest rate will not be more than 3%. So Morocco will need to pay out only $300 million. Because they have an economy that is stable. Their position is overweight, which is what JP Morgan is saying. So they have a saving. If Nigeria issues the same bond, they will pay 10%. So because you're not in borrowing and doing the right thing, you've lost $700,000, $700 million. For the same amount, another African country borrowed, because Morocco have been able to build their intangible assets to where they are stable. There's peace, there's unity, there's law and order. Okay. But you can't do it. It's not the same thing in Nigeria. So that differential you're wasting in your borrowing, which is what is happening even in the one we're owing now. Let's say we're owing $100 billion. So you are now paying $100 billion at 3% would have cost us $3 billion. $100 billion, $3 billion. But you're now paying 10. So you're losing $7 billion. If you had thrown $7 billion into education, health, fighting poverty annually, in 5 years, you have a difference. So you need to build that where you have that intangible assets that gives you that state. That's what Nigeria used to be. But you threw all that away. Yes, other countries in Africa like Ghana have physical issues, but we shouldn't, because we have some assets that we can utilize. As governor, I visited every local government in Anambra State and slept in them. Even when it's a short distance of 1 hour from Oka. Today, if I have opportunity of serving this country, before doing any visit outside this country, unless for an inevitable invitation or somewhere that is, I must go for a meeting, I will first tour the 6 states of Nigeria. Stay there, discuss with the stakeholders on ways and means in which we can build a more cohesive, a peaceful, caring society. Look at ways in which we can bring the best of every state. It's critical. The same thing is what I did by going from one state to the other to largely be able to canvass and interact with the delegates from that state on why we cannot continue on the path we are today. What does it fit? If I tell you, it's very difficult. I find so many things very worrisome. Very, very worrisome. One is that our politics remain very largely transactional. Two, which is very sad, most worrisome to me, is that what makes a country, one of the most important ingredients of being a nation, is respect, trust people have for their currency. Currency is a measure of faith and trust of citizens in their nation. Currency is a measure of productivity. Currency is a measure of your economy. I find it very, very worrisome that government officials who are supposed to be protector of this particular item, our currency, have abandoned the currency and are now spending dollars. I find it worrisome that while our manufacturers, business people cannot find dollars for critical inputs into manufacturing, critical import of spares and everything, the dollar is scarce. But the politicians found money to share. No country of the world will this happen. And it is being shared by people who have no legitimate means of earning dollar ever in their life. So it's a different thing if somebody comes and says, oh Peter, I invested money in this and I earned $500,000, that's what I'm sharing. But the Reuben, whom I know had not earned any dollars in the past 5 years, is sharing dollars openly. And nobody is questioning that. One, you diminish your currency, you ruin your economy and everything. I was in Morocco just within the past 3 weeks. I bought travel allowance from Nigeria and I went to Morocco, met people, and I said, they told me that this dollar I have to cash it through using my credit card. So I said, where's dollar credit? Where is dollar credit the points where I can cash my dollar? I was shocked that they told me not in Morocco, that I have to change their money in their currency if I want to. And now in every country. And when I spoke to the government official, I said, why wouldn't you have a place that can cash dollar? He said, not in Morocco. In Morocco, you spend our currency. So you must change that dollar in our currency. In Nigeria, government officials and everybody is changing our own currency into dollar. And this is dollar we cannot give to manufacturers. Again, if following up to that is that why we cannot pay gratuity, pensions of people who have worked hard in this country, why we're owing workers, owing lecturers, where our young ones are not in school, owing teachers in various states of Nigeria, politicians have huge amount of money to share. So there's a disconnect between the entire thing. As more as I travel and talk, the more I get more worried. And I look at myself, I've been a governor. I went for second tenure, I went for election through a time I was in office. I can't remember calling people to share the money. Whenever I invite them, I show them, what is what I'm doing, and this is where I save your money. The one that is remaining. I've done this road, I've done this, and this is where the remaining is. But that today, people are sharing, you're owing teachers, kids are not in school, the kids don't have this and you're sharing money. It is absolutely worrisome. That's my observation. But in any case, I'll continue to go on hoping that somewhere we'll be able to get this issue dealt with. We can't continue this way. No nation can continue this way, where you get up in the morning and you're sharing people money for no productivity. And the money you're sharing, everybody is aware that a few years ago, Peter Obi, Ruben Abati, who is sharing money today, have no legitimate means, no office of any such money. So that money, we know where it came from. And nobody's screaming, nobody's shouting.
Did you listen to that? Listen to this video. When I revisit this video again, there is something that a lot of things keep flowing through my head, my mind. Like, wow, why do we have this kind of person to be the president of this country? And we decided to let this one, who is the president of this country today, we decided to allow him to be. Why? I still do not understand. You see, let me tell you something. Reason of this video, when I listen to some people saying that Peter Obi is weak, Peter Obi is weak, Peter Obi does not have the kind of energy Tinubu has. Peter Obi cannot lead. Peter Obi cannot move this country forward. Peter Obi is weak. They stole his mandate. He was not able to reclaim it. Peter Obi would have called for a protest, and that time the protest, he would have been able to reclaim his mandate. No. Now the question is, are you calling this man a weak man because it does not have the physical, like Agbero? It does not have the Agbero vibe. Is that why you're calling him a weak man? Somebody who has this kind of brain ideas, right? So who is a weak man among this and this? That's why when I listened to Kenneth Okonkwo the last time, the reason why he left the Labour Party, because Peter Obi is weak. Peter Obi does not have action. Then he decided to praise and celebrate Sim Fumbara that time, especially the time when he said, "Fuck you, Inspector General of Police. That if anything should happen to you, should hold Inspector General of Police, so that this local government election must be conducted. If Egbetukun likes it, he should go and hawk transformer." That's not how he put it, but that's the meaning, because he was angry. Everybody could remember. But today, where is Sim Fumbara? Sim Fumbara is lobbying, begging Tinubu, who suspended him. Tinubu that played the role of evil against him. Today, he went to Lagos to see Tinubu. You should not. In fact, this is where they said, the day of your celebration, you should not be found missing. Yes, because Tinubu was once an enemy to you. Suspend you, remove you from position. Not by constitution, not by anything. That is evil, wickedness. But now, somebody that were that wicked to you, you are now begging, celebrating him. Where is that stubbornness? That's the point I'm driving at. This is the point I'm driving at. Where is the stubbornness? Where is the wickedness? Where is the action? It shows that you are weak. You are not stubborn. It does not have the capacity to withstand it. It's not about physical is not about physical strength. It's about the mind, the brain, the capacity, what you go upstairs. It's not about gra gra gra. Gra 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 will not solve the problem of this country. Do you understand? That's why when I listen, a lot of people are queuing behind those people saying Peter Obi does not have the strength. When you say you don't, somebody does not have strength to solve the problem of this country. Buhari, Tinubu that does not care. We don't have money. After he says subsidy gone, we don't have money. We are poor. We are managing. What was he supposed to do? Tinubu supposed to do? Is he not supposed to sacrifice for the country that he claimed that he lost? Would Peter Obi have done what Tinubu did? No. Country poor, people cannot feed themselves. Peter Obi will not remove subsidy at that time. Then there will be no, there was no program, nothing to cushion the effect of subsidy removal at that time. They wouldn't have done that. Would Peter Obi have used this amount of money to buy SUV vehicles for himself and for the senators? He wouldn't have done that. He would have been patient. He would have asked those people to be patient. After all, they got vehicles they driving before. Peter Obi wouldn't have used amount of money. Since Tinubu assumed office now, Tinubu bought his own private vehicles, almost 3, 4, 5. Right? The latest one is Escalade. That massive Escalade, isn't it? Mercedes is there. I think Range is there. Then you now talk about 2 private jets. So we don't have money. Those things, where is it? Those things, are they priorities? They're not priority. Yacht is there. Where is the yacht today? Is it not part of our money? It's part of our money. That is the somebody you say does not have ideas. I mean, does not have strength, does not have capacity to lead this country. You don't need somebody who is stubborn like Tinubu. It can only lead you astray because they are stubborn without direction, without thinking about the economy, without caring for the country. That's what you get. Somebody who had this kind of idea, brilliant idea. We do have this kind of person in power, and you'll be suffering. You will allow this country to suffer the way the citizens are suffering today? No, it wouldn't have happened. Sometime that time when Buhari was still there, when this World Bank, IMF were pressurizing Tinubu at that time, they said, can't you remove subsidy if you want to make this country great? Like, remove subsidy now. Remove subsidy. You have more money when you remove subsidy. Buhari said no to them. That Nigerians are poor. There's no production. Nigerians are poor. He can't afford to remove subsidy. Meanwhile, when removing subsidy, there is no other thing for them. He does not have, but Tinubu remove it. Now, removing the subsidy because you are stubborn. So where is the stubbornness leading us to now? No, where is it? Where is it? It's not just to pronounce it now. Remove the subsidy and use it for the betterment of this country. But yet, nothing like that. Everybody could have done that. Say, subsidy, remove subsidy. You know, as a president, you make the pronouncement. But what you do after subsidy removal is what makes you different from others. That shows the level of experience, the level of capacity, the level of you got upstairs, that the love you have for the country. Anyways, please share this video. It's getting too long. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll be your guy. Run on for me.